We recently posted 3 legacy episodes of the Sonic Boomers. A legacy episode is an episode that was recorded before the days that we made this show available on YouTube, where you could see our pretty faces. And those shows were all about cruising, and I do encourage you to take a look and a listen to them, because if you're thinking about cruising for the very first time, maybe this summer, these are going to help you out and maybe give you some good advice. Well, all of that put me in a real summer frame of mind, and that's why I've got on my summer shirt that I actually did pick up in Bermuda. And in this legacy episode of the Sonic Boomers, Maureen and I are going to be sharing some of our summer memories with you, and hopefully we get to take you along for the ride.
It's almost summertime.
Summertime and the living
Pete,
is... What? What's the matter?
You're going to get us in trouble doing that.
Oh, that copyright stuff. Yeah, well, anyway, this week we're sharing about our thoughts about summer and some of our favorite vacations from times gone by.
And summertime, for us, I think we can both agree summer is our favorite season.
Oh, absolutely.
But we differ a little bit because the hotter it gets, the better I feel.
The hotter it gets, the more miserable I am.
So we always have the battle over air conditioning temperatures.
Yeah.
But that being said, summer is a great time.
Yeah, it is. And summer is officially beginning on June 21st, right?
I think so.
The 21st. And you know, it's unfair because June 21st is also the longest day of the entire year in terms of daylight.
Right.
And you're just kicking off summer, and already you're backing off on the daylight by like a minute a day.
I don't think it's even a minute. I don't know. It's very, very small.
Yeah, I think we get chipped. So let's talk first about our summer vacations when we were growing up. But what did you do?
Well, most of the time we spent at home. We didn't have big vacations. When I was home, we would just occupy our time with bike riding, going to the pool, taking swimming lessons, tennis lessons, playing with our friends. If we did go on vacation, we went down the shore, Jersey Shore, and at one point we used to rent a place, and we would spend a week down in Seaside Heights with the two families together in a little bungalow, which was always a lot of fun.
I don't think we ever did anything with multiple families. My mother and my father and I, we would go somewhere. That was vacation. We didn't go with other aunts and uncles or cousins or friends and neighbors. It would just be the three of us. And we didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so a lot of times in the summertime, and those of you who grew up in Madison Park here will remember going to Duck's Nest.
What is that?
That was like the swimming hole.
Oh, okay.
And it was a hole. It was like a little, I don't know if it was a lake or a pond, but I remember going there with my mom, and you would come out of the water and you would have all this brown stuff stuck to you when you came out of the water. I don't know if it was algae or I don't know what it was, but there was Duck's
Probably
Nest.
cancer-causing chemicals for your
Well,
luck.
you know, it could be because we also had Lake Duhernal. And Lake Duhernal was a man-made lake created by DuPont, by National Lead, and Hercules.
Oh, a trifecta.
So these were all big chemical companies that were based in Sayreville. And there have been issues now over the last few decades with groundwater pollution. So God only knows, those of us who were swimming in Duck's Nest or in Lake Duhernal, God only knows what the heck we were exposed to.
Yeah. So did you never took any away vacations then?
We took a few. We went to Niagara Falls back in the, I don't know, maybe mid to late 60s. And that was a lot of fun. It was my first time at Niagara Falls. And we went to, a few times we went down to Miami, Florida, because my mom's brother and sister-in-law lived down there, and her nephew lived down there. That was my cousin Rudy, and Rudy was married to this Cuban woman, Isabel, and she was a ton of fun. She was lively, and she was a real firecracker, you know, very gregarious, and we would get into the car, and she would take us to I remember we went to a zoo. We went swimming at some lake. We went to the movies. And she'd be driving the car and she'd sing as she was going
that's
along.
cool.
And it was a great time.
That's cool. Fast forwarding a little bit, after we got married, vacations were few and far between because we were broke. We
Yeah,
had two
yeah.
kids and we were broke.
We weren't slightly bent. We were broke.
Coming up on our 10th wedding anniversary, and we're like, we deserve some kind of a vacation, 10 years. So
Without a vacation.
without a vacation. So for the 10th anniversary, we're like, we're going to do this somehow, some way, even if it's only a weekend, we're getting away. We're going to do something with the kids and we're going to do this. So we had some friends that went to this place up in the Catskills called the Shamrock House. It's East Durham, New York.
Right, which is in Greene County. They call it the Emerald Isle of the Catskills.
And I knew that they were going there all the time, so it couldn't be terribly expensive. So we asked them about it. They gave us the information, and we looked into it, and we found it was something we could do. So we went up for a long weekend, and got in touch with my Irish roots, and the kids had a wonderful time. It's a real... it was a family-owned kind of small potatoes kind of resort,
Right, the Kelliger family.
Right.
Owned it for a couple of generations.
And it didn't have like a whole lot. It had a pool. It had a dance hall.
Had a very nice pool.
Yeah, very nice. And a big yard in the back for
Little
the kids to
playground.
play on. But it was just a nice place to go. You didn't need a vacation from the vacation when you went there.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it was very laid back. And there's plenty of attractions in the area that you could avail yourselves of.
Right, they had the Zoom Flume.
And the go-karts and the Catskill Game Farm.
And don't forget our favorite attraction.
The mystery spot.
The mystery spot, which was this.
We fell for the
We
hype.
fell for the hype. And, we were young and naive. And the mystery spot is, it was a house, and it had all of these optical illusions, like a chair stuck to a wall, and you would go from one end of the house, and it was like it looked bigger on one end and smaller
Kind of like
on
Alice
the
in
other.
Wonderland going through the rabbit hole,
Yeah. And it was just weird.
And but they did a great job of promoting it. They had the flyers out in the hotel, and and we said with the kids, oh, this might be something neat to do.
Yeah, it was fun. I think we all had fun because the kids were like, "Wow, look at that," and we were like, "Well, how did they pull that off?
Yeah.
How do you make that happen?"
But later on, we found out that there were certain I don't know, characteristics of science and physics and optics and stuff that were employed.
And I think there's other mystery spots in different parts of the
I
country.
mean, obviously,
might be a franchise for all we know.
I don't think it's a franchise, but I think it's the kind of thing that once you learn these principles, you can recreate them anyway. There's nothing secretive or mysterious about that particular spot. They made it sound like this is a weird spot on the face of the earth, like the Bermuda Triangle, where mysterious things happen that defy nature. And the truth is, it's all, what are they called? Mirrors and...
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors.
What
Thank
was
you.
the cave that we went to with the kids?
Howe Caverns.
Howe Cavern, okay.
And that's like the bigger one. There was also a secret cavern, they called it, that was a little less familiar.
And all of these caverns, by the way, are discovered by two boys who were wandering off
12-year-old boys.
in the woods back during the Depression or something. And they found this cavern. Every cavern I've ever been to, that
have
was
the same
always
story.
the story going into it.
But that's a very nice place to go. Howe Caverns, very cool. They have an underwater lake, and you get into a little boat and you go through the cavern, and it's beautiful, beautiful.
Then later, of course, the kids got older, and it wasn't cool to go out with mom and dad on vacation anymore. Then eventually they grew up and they had their own lives and their own vacations to go to. I missed one. Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
When we took the kids down to Myrtle Beach.
The ride from hell.
Boy, that was. It was just nonstop.
He's breathing on me.
He's breathing on
looking
me.
at- he
You're
touched
looking at me. He touched me. Was that the one when they had that thing that you would draw on and they were writing the dirty words
Oh, yes.
and holding it up
Yes.
at the car
Not-
window
not
as we passed
Etch-a-Sketch,
people?
Magnadoodle.
Magnadoodle. And our kids are in the back seat, and we figured, oh, they're playing with the Magnadoodle. How nice. It's keeping them quiet. And they're writing like curse words and stuff on the Magnadoodle and holding it up.
to passersby.
Yeah.
We finally got like stopped at a stoplight, and somebody pulled up beside us and said, "Your kids are doing."
Your kids are
We're
writing
like-
stuff on the
And we're like,
dirty
"Oh
words.
no!"
16 hours.
I
16
don't think it
hours.
was that long, was it?
Yeah, 16 hours of stop looking at me. He's hitting me. You're breathing on me.
I don't want to give Mark his bottle.
When are we getting there?
Are we
Are we
almost
there
there
yet? I have to go to the bathroom.
But once we were there, Myrtle Beach was a fun place
Oh,
to
was
go.
it ever?
But
Remember the place that we stayed at?
the Sea Mist.
The Sea Mist. Remember they used to have the jingle on the TV. The Sea Mist.
And then had like a lazy river ride, and
That was fun.
that was nice. And it was right across from the beach, and it had a whole bunch of pools. I think actually what happened was it started out as one small motel, and they acquired other ones.
Yeah.
And it was like maybe 4 or 5 different buildings.
And they had a
each one-
section of beach that they owned
Yeah.
right on the ocean.
So that was good. And the last vacation that at least 2 of the 3 kids went on was when we went to Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls, Part 2.
But numero un was we went out to Erie, Pennsylvania to visit some friends, and we spent a day or 2 with them. And we went to Lake Erie, Presque Isle State Park there, and swam in Lake Erie. And we went to the
Waldemere
Waldemere
Park.
Park was a little amusement park, very much like Olympic Park used to be, if you're familiar with that in Irvington. Not like the big, great adventure kind of park. It had like,
It was a family-run park, good-sized park.
yeah, and it had big rides, but not like the super scary things. Like they did have a roller coaster, but it had other kinds of rides, tilt-a-whirl and the whip and things like that.
And then we left there and we went to
Niagara
Falls.
Falls. We went over into Canada and stayed on the Canadian side and did all the Niagara Falls activities. We loved the Maid of the Mist. It's a must do.
It seems like a hokey thing to do, but everybody does it, and so should you. It's great fun. You get on the Maid of the Mist boat, and they go very close to the bottom of the falls.
Yeah, Pete was crying like a baby.
I wasn't crying like a baby, but I was scared. I was scared.
He put up a good front, I will say that.
And the guy is piloting the boat, and I'm sitting there next to him, and I'm like, "Don't you think you should turn around now?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah, I think you should. We're getting a little close to those falls. I think you can turn around now." And he's like, "Oh, no, we have a ways to go yet." "No, you don't. I think you can turn around
Didn't
now."
you say he was reading a paper?
He had the paper there. And because he does it every day,
Yeah.
and he knows where the spot is where you turn around.
Right.
And I was like really nervous. But I got to tell you, when you see the falls, that up close and personal,
And then-
wow.
It's not just seeing it, it's feeling it, hearing it.
Yeah.
And I remember
The rumble, the power, the spray.
Right. It's something you can't imagine and you can't appreciate from just a picture. You really have to do that. And then the other thing,
You have to come really close to death to appreciate life, folks, is what I'm trying to tell you here.
oh God help us.
And then we did the Cave of the Winds.
Cave of the Winds is a cave passageway that takes you like right alongside the falls. I'm not sure that you get on one side and you come through this cave, and when you come out, you are literally right next to the falls. And they have this, they call it the hurricane deck, and it's like about 3 levels of deck with stairs, and you can go up each one and experience it a little closer, and then really, really close. And Pete and the kids went up to the top deck. I chose not to because
Where you get very close to the falls.
and you get wet.
The sign says, "Warning, you are about to get very, very wet." And you do. I mean, you're soaked. You are just soaked right through your clothes. But I remember the kids and I standing there getting sprayed and everything. And the 3 of us were just laughing.
It's such a happy memory.
It was such a happy memory, and we were just enjoying it and laughing. And to this day, and it was a long time ago, it's still one of my favorite vacation memories with the kids.
And then on the way home, part part trois of our vacation.
Mm-hmm.
We went, instead of going back through Pennsylvania, we went across New York State, and we wound up at the end going to the Shamrock
Back
House
for a couple of days there.
and then coming
We
home.
came home. It was a great vacation.
It had 3 different parts and 3 different experiences.
I
and
think
it was
we
great.
took the kids to Orlando a couple of times too.
Yes, we've been to Disney World when they were quite young.
I know a lot of people, and you do too, who every year they have to go to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
They make their pilgrimage to Disney. The first time we were like, wow. The second time that we did Epcot, disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a few years later. And we went into that ride, what was it, Destination Earth, I think it was called. It was inside the
one-
geodesic
yeah,
dome.
Right.
And the first time that you take that ride through the dome, it's like, wow. The second time, a few years later, it was like,
It was nice, but yeah. But the second time around, we tried to hit the places that we didn't make the first time. And then we went back to the things that we really liked. And we went to that Planet Earth thing. But
and you know what had happened too? By the time we went to Epcot for the second time, a lot of the things that they were predicting in their exhibits as for the future had already happened.
so it had a really dated
Yeah,
experience,
it needed
especially
updating.
the whole part around the computers and the technology and stuff. We were already there, and then some.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny, actually, a little laughable to go through.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we went. I'm glad the kids got to experience that and going on the plane and everything like that.
Now, as adults, out on our own, we have gotten into cruising. If you're interested in learning about cruising, go back and look at our 3 episodes that we did because we share a lot of our experiences with you. Now, summertime, of course, means eating too. Mm-hmm. What are your favorite summertime foods?
I like watermelon,
Yeah.
and I like corn on the cob, especially Jersey corn, that nice white corn. And for me, when I was a kid, my mother would make iced tea, homemade iced tea, and that. Like, there's no reason why you can't have it year round.
Did she make sun tea where you leave it out on the porch?
No.
Out in the sun? No?
Nope. Just made it, in boiling water
Yeah.
over the tea bags. Add a little sugar. And we only had it in the summertime. And like the first really hot day, she'd make that. And it was like, oh, this is great. This is summer,
See, we had that all year in our house.
Yeah, you were saying that. And
My mother had it was the big pot that we used to have that we used to make the
spaghetti
spaghetti
pot.
in, that big pot. And she would fill that up with water and she would throw in the tea balls, she used to call them. She would throw the tea balls in and boil it up and make iced tea and stick it in the fridge. But we would have it year round in a big pitcher.
No, for some reason, like I said, there's no reason why it only had to be summer, but that's how it was in our house. And so when iced tea came out, you knew it was summer. And the Good Humor Man,
Yes.
Good Humor Man would come around.
We
at night.
had, I think we had Good Humor. We had more carnival trucks.
No, we didn't. We had Good Humor, and for a little while we had Mr. Softy.
We never had Mr. Softy.
And-
All right, at least I don't remember
And
having it.
Mr. Softy was a little bit of a competition to the Good Humor Man because he gave out little toys. I mean, chintzy little stupid things like, wax teeth or a whistle or something. But for a while there, Jack the Good Humor Man was not too happy that we were going to Mr. Softy.
So, can I bribe you with something? Yeah, we had Good Humor, and that was the better of the ice cream.
It was.
If it was the carnival truck, it was like, well, yeah, okay, yeah, I want ice cream. But if it was the Good Humor, I want a Good Humor.
Yep.
But we didn't have Mr. Softy. I don't remember the trucks playing music.
No.
They had the bells.
The bells. That's all I
You would
remember.
just hear ding, 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 ding,
Yeah,
jingle,
yeah.
jingle, jingle, jingle.
It's like church.
Yeah. I mean, growing up Catholic, I would hear the Good Humor truck go by and the bell. I'd get down on my knees. I figured, must be in church. Get down. And what was your favorite ice cream out of the truck?
Oh, goodness. I liked the toasted almond, and I liked the lemon ice cup.
See, I was never into lemon ice or anything like that. I used to like the Good Humor bar, which was just the vanilla with the
Right.
chocolate on it, or they had one with chocolate with the vanilla inside, and I think it had almonds on it or something,
It was
or
like
nuts.
crunchy stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
and I think it had fudge in the middle.
Not the one that not the one that I had.
Well, maybe I just invented a new one. I don't know. But anyway, those are good times.
They were. Hey, thank you for joining me on this legacy episode of the Sonic Boomers podcast. Maureen and I are going to be going back into the studio very soon, and we'll both be on camera together. We've got an upcoming show about collecting comic books with our friend Kevin Fay, who was a great guest several months ago talking about collecting vinyl records. And we're also going to go out on a limb and do a show called Ask Us Anything. We must be crazy.